The amber dusk painted the family room in a gentle light when my husband, Armin, at last came back after 2 extended weeks absent. His hands were loaded with shopping parcels, every one sparkling with bows and sophisticated packaging. My pulse quickened, not for the presents alone, but since after such a stretch he had remembered me. He grinned wearily while placing the parcels aside. "Maria, I discover an item that brought you to mind," he murmured, passing me a tiny container covered in crimson velvet. Before I could lay a finger on it, a palm darted in front and grabbed it swiftly. "Father, I'll pass this to Alina." My boy, Rain, uttered hastily. "She adores crimson velvet. You know her picky nature." Armin stared, puzzled. "That's meant for your mom, boy." Rain released a harsh chuckle, even though no amusement filled it. "Mom possesses it all already. My spouse merits an item, as well. You indulge her far too rarely." I remained there motionless, my grin crumbling beneath the burden of his remarks. My boy, my sole offspring, gazed at me with a sort of annoyance I failed to identify. The affection I'd fostered in him had shifted to icy rock. Armin attempted to ease the situation. "Let's go, Rain. These belong to your mom." I carried fragrance, a wrap. Rain cut in, delving into the parcel and extracting all contents. "Then she may divide them. My spouse enjoys fine fragrance. Mom will not object, right?" His statements cut into me like thin incisions, minor, piercing, and unending. I glanced at Alina, positioned at the staircase base, acting to adjust her locks, her mouth bending in a subtle grin. She uttered nothing, yet her quiet roared more than any sound. I gulped deeply and produced a weak grin. "Naturally, Rain, if she fancies them, allow her to keep them." Armin faced me, surprised. "Maria, you need not." "It's all right," I replied, my tone shaking. "They're merely presents, but within, an element was shattering softly, gradually, without noise." That evening later, upon entering my chamber, I spotted the silk wrap resting negligently on the couch, by now marked with Alina's lip color. I lifted it tenderly, clutching the smooth material to my bosom. I could yet detect my husband's scent on it, blended with the acrid aroma of disloyalty. From the corridor, I caught Alina's chuckle, piercing and delightful, like crystal tapping on stone. And my boy's tone trailed, deep but harsh. "She forever behaves like royalty." Perhaps it's moment she discovered to divide her seat. That evening, I perched by the pane, observing the heavens haze via my drops. I grasped an idea I never wished to accept. Occasionally, affection doesn't diminish over years. It becomes pilfered, fragment by fragment, by those you relied on deepest. And as the lunar glow brushed my cheek, I murmured to myself, this marked the final present I'll permit them to seize from me. The times following that dusk extended into an uneasy hush that lingered in each nook of our dwelling. My boy and his spouse, Alina, chose to remain for several weeks as their flat underwent repairs. Those weeks rapidly became months, and alongside them, the coziness of our residence started to perish. Each dawn, I'd rise to the soft echo of mirth resonating from the cooking area. Alina's mirth, vivid, young, and edged with malice. I'd enter to discover her drinking brew from my cherished mug, the one my husband had presented me long ago. When I grasped for a dish, she'd offer another, beaming kindly. "This suits you, mother," she'd utter, stressing the term mother, as though it served as a penalty. Ryan, my boy, mirrored her like a shade. He addressed me lesser, evaded my sight. Andally, when he did address, his phrases were soaked in vexation. The lad who once rested near me, exchanging tales and aspirations, was now an unfamiliar with my husband's gaze and his spouse's venom in his soul. I attempted to converse with Armin regarding it, but he dismissed it mildly. Their youthful Maria avoid absorbing. All inwardly, they'll mature, yet I noticed the remorse in his sight. He had pampered Ryan excessively long, converting each desire into an entitlement, and now that identical leniency had expanded into haughtiness. It commenced with minor items, a vanished armlet, a lost wallet, my preferred drape absent. Then it expanded. One midday, I discovered Alina positioned in my chamber, grasping my treasure case. "Oh, I was simply appreciating it," she stated casually. "So outdated, still precious." She blinked prior to departing. That evening, I failed to rest. I caught their murmurs via the slim barrier. "She's overly attached," Alina uttered gently, "fret not." My boy responded, "Once father's departed, all shall be ours. Mom will not even resist." I pressed my palm to halt my sob. The following dawn, I feigned all unchanged. I beamed, prepared morning meal, and rested quietly at the board, while they chuckled over their schemes for a contemporary dwelling. They discussed shifting the furnishings, recoloring the barriers, as though I were already vanished. I started to drift like a specter in my personal abode, observing them from the borders of spaces. Each phrase, each look exchanged, revealed the reality to me, the truth. I had nurtured a boy who no longer viewed me as a mom, but as a barrier. Yet, I remained mute. Occasionally, quiet serves as the keenest edge. They assumed I was sightless, frail, and innocent. But far within, a tiny blaze was expanding, the type that fails to flare fiercely, but constantly, enduringly, awaiting the proper instant to devour all. And that marked the evening I formed my choice. If they could engage their ploys beneath my shelter, I would master to engage superior. Weeks evolved into months, and by then, my abode had morphed into a combat zone. Although no one yelled, no one clashed openly. The conflict here was mute. It lay in how Alina twisted her sight when I uttered, in how my boy declined to encounter my stare, and in how my husband's breaths deepened nightly. Armin's vitality started to weaken. Extended work journeys and ongoing tension had rendered him fatigued. I desired to shield him from the tempest forming inside our barriers, but the fact was too resonant to conceal further. One dusk, after all had retired, I stood in the dim, cooking space, gazing at the weak image of my visage in the pain. My sight appeared aged but keener, no longer brimming with bewilderment, but precision. That evening, I resolved to cease serving as their prey. I commenced to assemble the fragments of their disloyalty, one after another. The initial was a fund shift I spotted on Armin's device, funds removed under my boy's approval. Then several bills from treasure shops for objects absent from my compartments. And lastly, the capture. One dawn, I concealed a compact sound device beneath the board where they frequently rested united. That evening, as I feigned slumber, I caught their tones murmuring. "She'll never discover," Alina tittered. "She's overly believing," Ryan answered. "By following month, father will shift the estate documents, and will possess all." I halted the device with shaking palms, drops cascading down my cheek. The ache was profound, but so was the strength I abruptly sensed. Over the subsequent days, I collected further of their ridiculing phrases, their avarice-filled chuckles, the deceptions they shared with my husband. Each capture seemed like a blade I need not hurl. The fact would handle it for me. Then arrived Armin's 60th celebration, the ideal day for disclosure. I arranged all quietly. The attendees were summoned, the adornments were placed, and even Alina appeared thrilled, assuming it would serve as another occasion to display her allure. When all assembled that dusk, I stood beside my husband and boy, a serene beam hiding the turmoil within me. I offered Ryan a compact envelope covered in Orem sheet. "This suits you, my beloved boy," I uttered gently. "A unique present from Mom's soul." He unsealed it with a assured smile, anticipating funds or estate documents. Rather, his visage grew ashen. Within were imprinted records of his personal dialogues, captures of his spouse's avarice, and files of their deception. The attendees observed in quiet as the fact poured like vintage on pale fabric, unremovable. Alina's grin faded, substituted by astonishment and dread. Ryan's palms shook, and I, for the initial instance in months, sensed tranquility. The present I never offered was pardon. The dust my fact revealed, quiet engulfed the space. The melody halted. Attendees stood immobile, their chalices partly lifted. My boy's palms shook as he perused the sheets I had offered him. His visage lost hue with each term he viewed, his personal disloyalty gazing back at him in dark script. Mom, this fails accurate. I completed mildly. Then let's listen. I signaled to the individual near the amplifier. In moments, the space brimmed with Alina's chuckle, piercing, chilly, and oozing with superiority. She's overly simple to deceive. Once Armin endorses the estate, Ryan and I will at last exist our existence. Her captured tone uttered, I cannot tolerate that aged lady acting to be gracious. Breaths filled the space. I failed to shift. I simply observed her visage collapse as each attendee faced her. My husband, Armin, appeared devastated. The lady he had regarded like a child had been the exact one undermining the foundations of our kin. Alina attempted to utter, but her tone fractured. She's fabricating, she's distorted all. Ryan released the sheets, retreating as if the fact itself scorched his palms. Sufficient, Alina, he murmured, his tone shaking. I've caught sufficient. The space cleared gradually after that. Attendees departed murmuring, abandoning the remnants of my boy's arrogance and his spouse's deceptions. Alina departed that dusk, yelling, weeping, vowing retribution. But she never returned. Days elapsed before Ryan arrived to visit me. His sight were empty, his manner shattered. Mom, I failed to merit your pardon. I gazed at him quietly. My soul desired to embrace him, to recall that he remained my offspring. But my thoughts recalled each injury, each harsh term. No, I uttered gently, you fail, but I pardon you regardless. He collapsed to his joints, weeping like the lad I once recognized. For a prolonged instant, I embraced him not as a boy who had erred me, but as a gentleman who had misplaced himself and discovered nothing but sorrow. A week afterward, I saw the attorney. With steady palms, I endorsed the files, shifting half our riches and estates to a lady's aid in Armin's title. My boy would receive nothing but the dwelling he entered the world in, a token of where his avarice originated. When he learned, he uttered via drops, Mom, why donate all? I beamed mildly. Since, my boy, affection fails to gauge in what we retain, it's in what we're prepared to release. You seized all I possessed once, but now I've donated it all willingly. That's my liberty. Now, years afterward, each Sunday, he carries me blooms, lilies, my cherished. His sight yet bear remorse, but also comprehension. He gazes at me and utters, Mom, I misplaced all since I desired it entirely. And I answer gently, brushing his face, no, my boy, you misplaced all since you overlooked who provided it to you. As he departs, I gaze at the crimson container on my shelf, the present Armin once carried home, the one I never unsealed. I beam, murmuring to myself, some presents fail to intend to be donned, they're intended to be recalled. And with that, I at last sense tranquility.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss a twist. Stay tuned to Reddit Tales Times for your daily dose of drama, laughs, and unbelievable stories.